Welcome to episode 87, where we continue our journey through Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature. In the late 1800s, John D. Rockefeller had almost complete control over the oil industry. But then came Byron Benson, a clever businessman with a bold vision. He believed he could challenge Rockefeller's dominance with an innovative idea, a massive, long-distance pipeline. Back then, oil moved in short pipelines and by train. Rockefeller owned most of these, which gave him control. Benson's idea was simple but clever. Build one long pipeline from where the oil came out of the ground all the way to the coast. This would let other oil companies avoid using Rockefeller's pipelines and trains. Benson called his company Tidewater Pipeline. Many people who didn't like Rockefeller's control gave Benson money to build his pipeline. They hoped this would stop Rockefeller from having all the power in the oil business. But Rockefeller wasn't going to sit back and watch. He started fighting Benson's plan in sneaky ways. He bought up all the train cars that Benson needed to carry his building materials. This made it hard for Benson to get stuff to where he was building the pipeline. Rockefeller paid politicians in Maryland to make a law saying only his company could build pipelines there. This forced Benson to take a longer, harder route through mountains. Then Rockefeller did something really tricky. He started buying lots of land, right where Benson wanted to put his pipeline. He even spread rumors that the pipeline might leak and ruin farmers' crops, making them scared to sell land to Benson. It was like Rockefeller was everywhere, always one step ahead. But Benson didn't give up. He kept changing his plans, finding new routes, even if they were longer and more expensive. Finally, after a lot of hard work, Benson finished his pipeline in 1879. People called it a marvel of engineering. For a moment, it seemed like David had beaten Goliath. But Rockefeller had one more trick up his sleeve. He suddenly made his own pipeline and train prices so cheap that no one wanted to use Benson's pipeline. Benson's company started losing money fast. In less than a year, Benson had to give up. He made a deal with Rockefeller, joining their companies together. But that wasn't the end. Over the next few months, Rockefeller quietly bought more and more of Benson's company. Soon, he owned it all. The pipeline that was supposed to break Rockefeller's power ended up making him even stronger. This story shows just how tough Rockefeller was in business. He didn't just rely on having more money or better technology. He thought of every possible way to win. He controlled important things like train cars that his competitors needed. He used his money to influence politicians and change laws in his favor. He bought land to block his competitors' plans. He spread rumors to scare people and turn them against his rivals. When all else failed, he used his money to offer prices so low that no one could compete. Rockefeller's actions might seem unfair, and in many ways they were. But they show how he thought about every part of the business, not just the obvious things. He understood that to stay on top, he had to control everything, from the oil in the ground to the laws in the government offices. This story also teaches us something important about trying to change big, powerful businesses. Sometimes when you try to fight them, you can end up making them even stronger. Benson's pipeline was a great idea, but in the end, it just gave Rockefeller a new tool to control even more of the oil business. So when people saw how Rockefeller beat Benson, they started to wonder, how could anyone ever hope to win against someone so powerful and clever? It seemed like no matter what new ideas people came up with, Rockefeller always found a way to turn things to his advantage. This is why Rockefeller became known as such a powerful force in business. He didn't just react to what others did, he thought ahead, planned for every possibility, and used every tool he could to stay on top. His story shows that in the world of big business, it's not always the person with the best idea who wins. Sometimes, it's the person who's willing to fight the hardest and think of every possible way to come out on top. We're now accepting a special kind of donation, your likes. Each one gives us the motivation to keep creating top-notch content for you. If something in this video resonated with you, share your thoughts and personal experiences in the comments below. Your insights could be valuable to someone else. Now, a quick reminder. Make it a habit to learn something beneficial every day. Remember, the content you consume is like food for your brain. Be intentional about it. Otherwise, the algorithm might end up influencing your thoughts. Give it some thought. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.